Remember a while back when I thought I was going to freeze to death when I was changing the knives on my jointer? It's time to put these knives to use, and we're going to make some marking knives. If you haven't seen the video where I change these knives, I'm going to put a link in the video description, but now it's time to get going and get these marking knives built. Now, I did do a test on one of these to make sure I could drill it. I thought maybe that these were going to be super hard and I'd have to get some kind of a carbide drill bit, but I was actually able to drill these. I'm guessing that it's only hardened along the edge of the blade. My first order of business will be just to mark out where I need to remove the material. Now I get to use my belt grinder for some actual metal work, something you haven't actually seen me do a whole lot. I've used it in some videos here and there, but let's make a knife. Since I know some portion of these knives are hardened, I'm being very careful not to overheat it and using water to keep the blade cool. So I've got that initial bevel ground on there. It's a little bit harder than it looks to hold that thing nice and steady on that belt. For some reason it wants to bounce around. Now that's probably just my technique, and as I get more experience on the belt grinder, hopefully that'll smooth out. I'm not too worried though. I think it's going to sharpen up just fine. I can already feel that it is kind of sharp already. So let's move on. For the scales, I'm going to use this scrap of maple and this piece of 1/4 inch Purple Heart dowel. Now I need to mark out on the blade exactly where I'm going to drill those holes. Well, that didn't work out so well. I tested these going into this project and it looked like I was going to be able to drill through it. I thought that it was only hardened at the tip of the blade, but apparently it is hardened halfway down the middle. So when my drill bit hits that center point, it kicks it off to the side, which makes my hole off center, and then I can't finish drilling it because by then it's dulled my drill bit. I heated this up with a torch just as an experiment to see if I could make it a little bit softer right where I needed to drill. It made the line where it's hardened show up really well. So this piece right here, this upper half, that's the hardened area. And you can also see on the side that it's a very thin sliver of where the hardened piece is. So I've got to rethink the way I'm grinding this so that I get the hardened surface at the tip. Here's the one that I went back and reground, and you can see the hardened area right here goes all the way out to the tip now. So this is going to end up being a design modification. I wanted to use the wooden pins like a knife handle. Since I don't have any kind of a carbide drill bit that I might have a chance of drilling through this, I'm going to end up making this a hidden tang knife. We'll make a couple pieces that will epoxy right over top of this and you won't even see the back. So let's keep going. I'm going to use double-sided tape and stick these pieces both to the same piece of wood. This will give me more of a surface to hang on to as I'm running this on the router. With my start and stop areas marked out and using a straight cutting bit on my router table, I'll just cut a shallow channel for the blade to sit in. Cool. Now I'm just going to tape these two pieces together so I can do some initial shaping before I glue them on. I really want to just be able to shape the front, get it contoured the way I want it before I glue it together, because once I glue the blade in there, I'm not going to be able to get to that front edge. Now I'm mixing up just a little bit of epoxy, and we're going to get this handle glued in place. This is a really slow setting epoxy, so I'm not in a hurry, and this actually makes it a little less stressful. This way I have plenty of time to get things lined up. When you use 5-minute epoxy, sometimes it feels like you have to really rush, and it kind of gets a little bit frustrating. This way is a lot better. Of course I have to wait a lot longer, but that's okay. I'm going to use just a little bit of acetone on a rag to wipe up the squeeze out around the blade. And now I can just let this epoxy cure overnight. After the epoxy is cured overnight, now I can unclamp it and begin the shaping process. To me, this is one of the funnest parts of a project like this. Yes, even with a belt grinder, there's still hand sanding. You just can't eliminate it. I'm putting a little bit of tape around the blade so that I don't nick it with the sandpaper. And probably a good idea so I don't cut myself too. Then I'll just wipe a coat of boiled linseed oil on the handle. Oh, let's see if we can see that again. That's cool looking. When you're done using the linseed oil, make sure you take care of your rags properly. Don't just crumple them up and throw them in the trash. There is a chance of spontaneous combustion. You want to lay them out flat on a non-flammable surface where they can dry, or soak them in a bucket of water before throwing them away. I'll finish this knife up with a few passes on my leather sharpening strop. So there's my finished knife. This thing sharpened up really nice. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. I love the way that the grain popped when I put that oil on there. Now I actually need to make a little leather sheath for this so I don't slice myself up. I have some leather already, so stay tuned for a future video where I will make a leather sheath for this little guy. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought of this project down below in the comments. So until next time, thanks a lot for watching.